All right, we'll take it back to 1970 when they did a show, a small show there. Um, I mean, let's take it back to where after his departure from the parliaments, you know, he decided to form a group as that funky sound and the psychedelic type of thing there. By 1970, they made a song that became more noticeable in in the history of music. But the song, it came from the people, some people that was in the parliaments and in funkadelic mixed in. So you got people there. This is I got a thing, you got a thing, everybody got a thing. This right here is in it's funkadelic. It's funkadelic and bass guitar player William Billy Bass Nelson Jr. I had to erase that previous video off of my cell phone before I had to come home and redo this thing because I forgot to mention about the death. But it's time for me to get this thing started until you know what we gonna do. I'm gonna get on with the on this live show here. Before I'm going to have to do it, I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do here. I'm gonna scoop on into the group that was coined by William Billy Bass Nelson Jr. Uh, and I'm going ahead to study the discography before I'm going to have to get on with the story. Okay, Funkadelic, Funkadelic, album one. Uh, Free your mind. Yes, free your mind, and your ass will follow. Maggot's brain. The three singles, I think it was out there, the albums that's out. You have America Eats Its Young. That's albums one, two, three, and there's album four here. We got album five here is Cosmic Slop. The work, the artwork came from the likes of a fellow collaborator named Pedro Bell. Okay, Cosmic Slop. It was the artwork. All the artwork that Pedro Bell had did anyway in 1973. All the work that has been done, they're standing on the verge of getting it on. You know what I'm saying? You have, yeah, it's all like, see, it all gotta be in there. So that's album six, whatever. There's one, two, three, four, five, and six here. Uh, see, you got album seven was called "Take It to the Stage." You know, you have the seventh album there is called "The Tales of Kid Funkadelic." So, hardcore jollies, yes, hardcore jollies that got released there. One Nation Under a Groove there. You got Uncle Jam Wants You. You have Connections and Disconnections. You have the Electric Spanker War Babies that could cause some little problems that's going on here. Well, the criticism came from the women's groups. It was called what is it? Women Against Violence. They protested over an album that was had it had it had two covers in here that had they had two covers in here. You have the album cover that was a little censored here. And then you have the uncensored cover. That was the original one. That caused a lot of problems. That was with between George Clinton and Warner Brothers. That causes for a lot of problems. That when he had to get them out, he had to go get he had to go get Funkadelic out of the Warner Brothers label to bring him into his own Uncle Jam Records label that put a lot of fear in people and everybody else. So I'm not gonna read anything about the artwork controversy because I ain't got no proper time to read that shit. I ain't got no time to read. I don't even have to repeat what I just read like previously. You see here, you have the other albums that came from two different record labels here. It was By the Way of the Drum here. And you have first you got to shake the gate. We're gonna do some heavy work here, so I'm not gonna jump into that. So, but see, Parliament, you know, their song, uh, "Give Up the Funk." already got sampled by MC Hammer for the song "Turn This Mother Out." So, well, not just Knee Deep. It already got sampled by Snoop Dogg, for the song G Funk intro that he already brought Dr. Dre along with him. He brought in Dr. Dre along with him, and the Lady of Rage, and George Clinton in it, and George Clinton, the guy who did the music. See, the sample. See, Knee Deep, uh, and P Funk, and I wanna do something freaky to you. And I think it was Sweet Chariot, or yeah, Mothership Connection, Sweet Chariot, or Star Child, whatever. It got sampled by Dr. Dre for songs like Dre Day, uh, the Chronic outro, and I think it's Let Me Ride. Yeah. But the song Knee Deep got sampled by MC Hammer for the song Straight to My Feet, that already that it has the song Straight to My Feet that kind of reminds me of Knee Deep. Then that song got sampled by De La Soul, It's got sampled by this American hip hop group called De La Soul. Um, that was for the song called "Me, Myself, and I." But that song "Knee Deep," "Knee Deep," it got a little more known, but it was more little known back in the '70s. But it got sampled by Tupac. That was for the song "Can't See Me." That was from a sprawling double CD album, All Eyes on Me, that was just released on early 1996. That was 7 months before he was killed in a drive-by shooting in Las Vegas on September 7th. And 6 days later, he was pronounced dead. So let's go to the legacy of Mr. William Billy Bass Nelson Jr. This is what we're going. You know what I'm saying? This man was an American musician who was the original bassist for Funkadelic. He is a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted in 1997 with 15 other members of Parliament Funkadelic. See, let me tell you about Nelson. He was born in Plainfield, New Jersey. Plainfield, New Jersey. on January the 28th, 1951. As a teenager, he worked at George Clinton's barbershop, sweeping the floor and singing and dancing for the customers. Clinton Clinton was a member of the doo wop vocal group, what's the word, the Parliaments, who scored a nationwide hit in 1967 with the song is called I Want. Yeah, it's called I Want to Testify, or I Wanna Testify. Clinton, well, put together a backing band as a musical support for a tour and recruited Nelson, who in turn recommended his friend Eddie Hazel. Nelson and Hazel eventually took on bass and lead guitar roles respectively. The backing band was originally unnamed, but Nelson later coined the name Funkadelic to reflect the style of funk and connect it with the then burgeoning psychedelic music scene. And by the time I'm done with this video, man, y'all can go ahead and put the pictures of Nelson and Clinton if you have to. Right after I'm done with this video, because I already erased that video. You can put the pictures on this video. You can put the pictures right there, right after I'm done with this video. By 1970, Funkadelic was a full band. Yeah, so let me tell you about what happened in 1970. By 1970, Funkadelic was like a full band of consisting of Nelson, Hazel, drummer Tiki Fullwood, Tiki Fullwood, well, guitarist Lucius Tall Ross, and keyboardist Mickey Atkins, who was a keyboardist, who was later replaced by George Bernard Worrell Jr. Well, they call him Bernie. They call him Bernie. Ever since 1967, the band has been billed as the musical backing for the Parliaments. It was due to the legal problems, you know what I'm saying? It's between Motown and Rebelot. But the Parliaments were tied between Rebelot and signed to Motown. It's due to those legal problems back in 1968, prior to the formation of Funkadelic. But in the early 1970s, Clinton had temporarily lost the rights to the name the Parliaments and instead signed the entire ensemble to Westbound Records under the name Funkadelic. Nelson was a prominent contributor to the first three Funkadelic albums. Funkadelic, Free Your Mind and Your Ass Will Follow, and Maggot Brain. Nelson left the group in late 1971. Yes, he left the group in late 1971 after a financial dispute with George Clinton, making Nelson the first Parliament Funkadelic member. Yes, the very first Parliament Funkadelic member to defect over such concerns, foreshadowing a major problem that would haunt Clinton in the late 1970s. That means 1977. Nelson and Hazel next performed with the Temptations. They have next performed with the Temptations Nelson rejoined Funkadelic. He rejoined Funkadelic briefly in the studio in 1975. Well, they had to go back. They had to go to United Sounds Systems studios in Detroit to go work on the songs. By playing on the track "Better by the Pound," it was on the Funkadelic album "Let's Take It to the Stage." It has something there. Yeah, they had some going on here. The cover was already been done. Nelson later played with the Commodores. The chairman also like this was here. Let me tell you what Nelson had did. He later played with the Commodores, the chairman of the board, Fishbone, Jermaine Jackson. Oh yeah, the American female funk group. The American female funk group, Paulette, Lionel Richie, Smokey Robinson, and Leonard Charles Williams. In the 1990s, Nelson enjoyed a surge of the name checking by such legendary bassists as of John Norwood Fisher. Yes, John Norwood Fisher. John Norwood Fisher, that was from Fishbone. And and Michael Flea, whatever his name is, Flea. Yeah, it's the guy who did the bass, Flea, who was from the group Red Hot Chili Peppers, whose real name is Michael Peter Balzary. Uh, you know what I'm saying? He Nelson had enjoyed a surge of name checking by these legendary bassists of as of John Fisher, John Fisher and Michael Balzary. That was from those two groups, Fishbone and Red Hot Chili Peppers. While his early funkadelic work that was being sampled by often hip hop artists, joining with some other P Funk Parliament Funkadelic alumni in 1994, Nelson released the album Out of the Dark under the name OG Funk. After 1994, he served in these various he served in those various touring lineups of the Parliament Funkadelic Collective. It was Parliament is Parliament Funkadelic. He also had toured with the likes of the P Funk spin-off acts like the 420 Funk Mob, yeah, the 420 Funk Mob and Sons of Funk. A guitar player had described Nelson as the Wynton Marsalis of funk music. An opinionated player with the strong views is what is about and what is and isn't genuinely funky. It's like that's what he mentioned there. Let me go rephrase. He's like the Wynton. They'll tell you about this guitar player there. To see the guitar player, it described Nelson as the Wynton Marsalis of funk. An an opinionated player with the strong views and what is and isn't genuinely funky. And Nelson had pointed to a song like it was called it was from the Maggot's Brain. It's from the Maggot's Brain album that he did with Funkadelic. You and your folks, me and my folks. Yeah, it was you and your folks, me and my folks. That was from the album Maggot's Brain that was in the 70s. For an archetypal funk tempo that he just mused here. And he said that funk is meant to be played at a very specific tempo a lot of groups play. It's all too fast. If you want to play that raw, serious funk, you have to slow it down. And we had to go into the depth thing. I had to do it though, cause it's my last chance to read this thing. Sadly, on January the 26th, 2026, George Clinton said that Nelson had died while receiving hospice care, but but his family denied this. However, Nelson died on January the 31st. Yes, Nelson died on January the 31st, 2026, 3 days after his 75th birthday. In a tribute article shortly after his death, I couldn't even be able to drink this energy drink until I started choking up reading this. In a tribute article shortly after his death, almost teared up. Ultimate Guitar said that Nelson's contribution to funk and rock remains very significant. Yeah, as long as you viewers respect and admire Nelson's work, whether you like his work or you probably not going to like his work, got to learn to respect it. My guilt, I had to do this because I kind of choked up over this thing. But let me let me get this on and I had no choice but to start looking to put down the name so I can get my mind off of all this stuff. I try to not drink while I'm doing this live show here. See, we're jumping. See the pictures. I'm glad to let you find this out yourself. Oh shit! The fuck! I'm trying to work on this shit. I'm trying to get to the images, man. Let me get to the images because I'm sick of pushing myself back. So now I'm going right into the photo album. See the old photos they have. See the old photo. This here is the old photo of Funkadelic. It's an old photo of Funkadelic. See, there's Lucius Ross there. There's a guys that was in there. There's Lucius. There's Gary. There's Eddie. There's Cordell. That's Cordell Massoon. That's how French. That's French of his last name. So it's old. It's a photo of them though. So we got the old photos they have. The other old photos they have is these guys here. This old photo was already been taken years ago. So we gotta look at some pictures here. There's a photo of Nelson. There's a photo of Nelson along with the members. George Clinton was standing there behind him. A few of the guys you see here that's standing right behind him. Clarence Haskins, who had passed away in 2023, he was in the picture. A few of the guys there. Shady Grady was already in the picture. A few other guys. This picture. See, it's an old photo of him in the 1970s. He was on a come up. See his photo. He took this photo in 1971, I think, when he was on a come up, working on the Maggot's Brain album with the rest of the group. This is him when he was wearing some sort of diaper, but it wasn't even him. It was one of those guys who wore a diaper. They had to be the guy who was wearing a diaper. Uh, it almost looked like Gary Scheider who was wearing a diaper. You know what I'm saying? That old photo was already been taken. That photo was taken in like 1970s. That's why they call him the Diaper Man for a reason. So you can go ahead and put his name back on it on this thing after I'm done with it. So this old photo they have of him with Clarence, and there's George, there's a few other people that was in that group. Well, nobody else even heard from Bootsy Collins yet. Bootsy Collins was in the James Brown band. Anybody remember him? Uh, Alongside Maceo Park. Well, Maceo Parker, who was in the band. Yeah, I remember that old footage. That old footage when James Brown had had already guys dance on. And James been calling for Bootsy to come out there with the strumming that guitar and shit. Yeah, yeah, man, and William Collins, man, Bootsy. He playing the guitar. Yeah, that's how That's how he showed up at a rehearsal late, and James Brown had fired him from his band. I think because he showed up at a rehearsal high on acid. It's another old photo of Nelson in the '70s, back when he was younger. There's a lot of other photos they have of Nelson here. We got a still photo of him from the One Nation Under a Groove documentary. That's a photo of a Billy sitting there with the guitar in his on his in his by his side of his hand. That man likes to strum that guitar like it was nobody's business. See, he been sporting a hat that says OG Funk on it. So nobody else in Mama knows about what he remembered. He recalled how George Clinton tried to pull that shit on him by handing him drugs. And he know, and George know that Billy doesn't even want the cocaine from George. I mean, Billy been telling George he wants his money. You know what I'm saying? Billy doesn't even need to get no drugs from George, man, to get high and strung out. He just want the money. He doesn't want the drugs anymore. Billy doesn't want the drugs. You know what I'm saying? That's why he got strung out on it. That's why he got strung out on it, and he was done with it. He didn't want no drugs no more. He probably done. He's probably done messing with that stuff. Back in the '70s, he wants his money. He doesn't want no more drugs from George. Even though even though Bigfoot tried to get his hustle on by trying to sell the drugs to get the money. Even though George have already shut down that hustle that Bigfoot was trying to get. Even though he pulled out a sign, that George pulled out a sign, it says no drug dealing unless it's authorized by George. And nobody else even know nobody else in the mom was a dealer on that P Funk tour. So according to Robert Mittelman, who was uh who was Parliament and Funkadelic's manager, this little photo they have of Nelson here was with the other members. This was taken with all the other members of the group here. So see the photo. It's a photo of him alongside the likes of the members, uh, George Worrell Jr., uh, Edward Nelson. I forgot. It was got a picture. You got a picture of a young William Nelson Jr. You know what I mean? You have a young Ramon Forward, uh, a young Lucius Ross, and a young Edward Hazel. That's a picture that was already been taken from like back in the old days. It was a picture of Worrell. It was a picture where you had Worrell who was doing the gangster string lines, Ross who was in the group, Forward who had passed away in the '70s, Hazel who had died in the '90s. So him among these members who had passed away. You know what I mean? That picture was already been taken back in the old days, especially the 70s, early 1970s. Yeah, they got him in the studio, you know, working on the guitar thing. Old photos that they have of him from the 70s, that was classic. Just wait till you see all the other interviews they have of Nelson. There's another photo of Nelson before he passed away. It was an old picture of him. Um, he looks so different from where he was in the 70s, the early 1970s. So it's a classic picture they have of him. This was from, I think, was from it was from what's it called? Uh, Bush Tales. Came from Bush Tales. But they have other pictures that they already shown me. I didn't even get a chance to look at them. Here's Nelson still strumming on the guitar. I feel it was I feel it was prior to him doing the uh the tear the roof off documentary. You know, so it's a photo of him when he was on stage with the guitar. You know, he had on a T-shirt that says industry. It says industry. I wrote the shirt. It says industry. It says industry or something, or it was like it's a carbon copy of the beer Miller Lite. I gotta find out where they have all these. I gotta find where they have all these other pictures they have of him. Where they have all these other. Well, we got another rare concert that he had did. There's a rare concert of him, on stage somewhere. There's another photo of him. There's another photo of him sporting the hat. It says P Funk. It says P Funk on it. It says P Funk on it. He had on his own jacket that had his name on it, and it was his jacket that they had to give to him. Uh, see, it says Cleveland inducted 1997, I think. It says Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum. It's a jacket that they had to give to Billy in those day back to the 90s. He still had that jacket long before his death. I gotta go find out. I gotta go find the other photos, other images. They have a still image of him from the they had no still image of him from the tear the roof off documentary. They have that. Oh, they already have a picture of him. Oh, they already have a picture of him uh in 1997 when he was inducted along with those 15 members. This was taken in 1997 when he was inducted along with the members. They're alive or dead. Ain't got no other pictures of him from from the tear the roof off. They don't even have that. They had nothing but fish. They had nothing but raw fish. They had nothing there but raw fish. Well, the Funkadelic album that they wouldn't be able to show me on the air. This one I have to show it to y'all. It's the first album that came out in 1970, and that's what happened with Billy. Billy was like this funkiest bass player that ever lived. It's every note, something that he do. Let me get off this the images. Let me get off these images. All right, man. Let me get off these images here. How to get off the images? Let me get off these images and and dedicate this live show to the guy who did the bass guitar for Funkadelic. And let me do this now because I'm gonna have to go dedicate this live show to end it with a tribute. This live show on YouTube is dedicated into the memory of Funkadelic bass guitarist William Billy Bass Nelson Jr. He is born on January the 26th, 1951, and died on January the 31st, 2026. Rest in peace, Mr. William Billy Bass Nelson Jr. The music world owes you a lot.